In this video we're going to be talking about lightweight, up-tempo daily trainers. Right guys, so before we get stuck into the video, I want to know from you, what is your go-to up-tempo daily trainer? Let's say you've got a speedier session, you've got to do a bit of, I don't know, threshold work. What are you putting on your feet? Is it a Takumi Sen 8? Is it a Hyperion tempo, which is a max, but you know what I mean? What are you using? Are you using one of the old Skechers shoes? Let me know in the comments. Right, so this video I'm going to be telling you which ones out of these three I prefer, because these are my sort of current crop of up-tempo daily trainers that I'm using in the rotation. We've got the New Balance Rebel 3 version 3, we've got the Hyperion Max, and then we've got the Skechers Razor 4. Now the Razor 4 is harder to get hold of in the UK than the other two. It is on the there's a few websites you can pick it up on. If I could spit, that'd be brilliant. But I've seen it on like Amazon and stuff like that. So if you keep an eye out, you can pick it up. But the other two are readily available. Now prices, we've got under £100 for the Rebel. It's been out a while. £160 for the Max, and $140 for this, the Razor 4. And on the UK websites I've seen it between £120 and £140, as I say, but the websites have differed in terms of prices, and I don't know whether they're any good, those websites, or not. In terms of fitting, true to size UK 9.5, true to size 9.5. This is a UK 10. Watch your sizing on the Rebel 3. Okay, drops, we've got 4mm drop on the Skechers, 6mm drop on the Rebel, and we've got an 8mm drop on the Brooks. Then midsole compounds, we've got the Hyperburst Pro, which is the TPU new midsole from Skechers. We've got DNA Flash, nitrogen infused DNA Flash on the Brooks, and then we've got the famous Fuel Cell midsole on the Rebel. In terms of outsole coverage, we've got reasonable outsole coverage with rubber on the New Balance. The Brooks has got okay in terms of the outsole coverage, and then you've got an improved Goodyear outsole on the Skechers as well. Okay, weights, I wrote the weights down. Let's do them as well while we're going through these stats and features. We've got 228 grams, 228 grams. Slightly heavier is the Skechers at 253. Okay, lastly, you've got a small plate, training plate, let's call it, in the Skechers Razor 4 up the front end, but neither of these two shoes have a plate in them at all. Right, okay, I think that's it in terms of stats and features. Right, so I've been using these shoes, for training runs. I've not put any of them through a race or anything like that. This is purely for my rotation for, you know, marathon training, that sort of stuff, where I've been using them for like club sessions or anything where I wanted to put my foot down a little bit, but nothing mental in terms of distance, you know, 6 miles, 8 miles, something like that, but nothing more than that. The bread and butter of these shoes is probably on average about 5 miles, I would guess, maybe even 4.5 miles. I do like to get them out, as I said, on a club session or even for a lunchtime run of about 4 miles. I do think it's a shoe in your rotation that will provide value if you can pick up a shoe for the right price, because I like to have a shoe that's a different feel to my daily trainer, a little bit different to my race day shoe. I think everybody could do with an up-tempo daily trainer in their sort of rotation, if you can afford it, if you can pick one up on the cheap. And you can tend to find these shoes get discounted down. You can pick them up cheaper as time goes on. Like as I said, the Rebel 3 is under £100 now. But I think they're a good little shoe to have in the rotation, because it's different to your daily work. You know, you want to be able to put your foot down and crack on. It's not a shoe that you necessarily run long in, but you know, you could lick along at a park run if you wanted to put your foot down at a park run. But more importantly, as I say, it's a shoe that you can sort of, you know, you're going to put on you, and you've got to do a bit of a harder effort, a little bit more of a concentrated effort. And by putting on a different shoe that feels different, that's lighter than your daily trainer, hopefully it will give you a little bit more impetus when you're on that session. And that's why I've got, well, obviously I've got 3 of them, because we're crazy here at FORDY Runs and we've got shoes coming out of our, you know, backside, left, right and centre. But it's a nice shoe to have in the rotation, to be able to pull one of these out so you can go and get after a session. That's the key to it for me. But I do want the shoe to come alive and feel awesome, which is why out of these 3 I go for the Skechers Razor 4. This shoe just is always asking me to run faster, which is what I want. The Max Road, the Skechers on the brain, the Hyperion Max is that little bit too firm for me, and I just feel like my calves are like beating up and spat out after I run in that. And the Fuelcell is the sort of, I don't know, it's a great shoe, it's a lot of fun, but I just prefer the ride of the Skechers. Now I think this is probably a good shout at under £100 and it's readily available. The Fuelcell Rebel 3 is a really good shout if you're looking for an up-tempo daily trainer, a lightweight one. This at £160 is a little bit hard to justify, I think, to add to your rotation at that sort of money. Over at £160 it is very hard to justify, and I don't think you're going to get necessarily the feedback that you get out of the Rebel 3. And that's why for me, the Skechers, put that to one side, the Rebel 3 is probably the sensible thing to buy. I prefer the Skechers Razor 4 because I just love the feel of it. I love the way it just feels on my feet and the feedback I get from it. But it's not that readily available. It's $140 in the US, where, you know, this is under £100 and is very readily available and will do what this does, you know, about the same. But yeah, so I think really what I want to get out of this video is to tell you, I think probably you need to look at potentially getting an up-tempo daily trainer if you don't have one already. If you do, again, let me know in the comments which one it is. I think the Skechers is 100% one to look for. If you can get your hands on it, then you get it, because it really is a great shoe. It really is a lot of fun, people. The Gucci rubber has added a lot of traction. The Hyperburst Pro has just transformed it even more of an up-tempo daily trainer. It really has. It's just a lot of fun to run in, but I appreciate it's not readily available, which is why I think, you know, the Rebel 3 is still one of the best up-tempo daily trainers. It's just a lot of fun. The outsole's not brilliant. It's a bit slippery if it's a bit greasy out there, but it's just so much fun on the Fuelcell. And then there's not enough Fuelcell here for me to get into trouble and start wandering about. And it's just a great shoe. It's a lot of fun, and I would recommend probably that very much over the Hyperion Max. So there we go, we got there in the end. Probably a long way around, but we got there in the end. So don't bother with the Hyperion Max in terms of lightweight up-tempo daily trainers. My preference is the Skechers Razor 4, but my probably recommendation to you is to get the Rebel 3.